And we're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome to Free Roam Fridays, where we free roam with Arthur in Chapter 2. J Lash is here with his thumbs ups. Thank you, J Lash. Couldn't do without you, friend. Trent says, well, howdy, partner. Well, howdy, partner to you, sir. And El Ray says, XD. And very good XD to you as well, El Ray. David V is here, channel member and moderator. Welcome, David. Appreciate you, friend. Thank you for being here early. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing better. I had thoughts of you while I was doing my cardio, and I was, and I, as always, wish you and Chrissy the very best, with a very long and happy and healthy life. How are you, David? I hope you're doing better. I did not, it occurred to me when I saw you in the chat, contact Serena. I wish I had, but why would I do something actually responsible for the channel? It just kind of, I don't want to say it slipped my mind, kind of slipped my mind. Chrissy V is here. Greetings, Chrissy. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here early. Chrissy has a heart for David, and David has a heart for Chrissy. What's that about? Tonight we're fooling around with the legendary Gator. I'm just going to show you an assortment of legendary Gator videos. This one that we're doing now is interesting because it's at the start of chapter 6, right before we meet Sadie. And if you go anywhere near the Sadie mission, you will trigger a certain event, a certain cutscene that is not doing, that cannot be avoided. And we're going to trigger that cutscene tonight. Chrissy says David is doing really well. I'm very happy to hear that, Chrissy, and it means a lot coming from you. It means more than coming from David. David says getting better, friendo. I'm glad. I'm so glad you are, David. Very happy for you. Chrissy says hi to J Lash, Trent, and El Ray. El Ray means the king, as I believe.
Hello.
10 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. You know, it's interesting from Dusk Till Dawn, which I currently just rewatched. The two Gecko brothers, Desperados, are on their way to El Rey, Mexico, a free-for-all town.
What is the point of this?
Cloudy says, howdy, y'all. And then, you know, in the movie, it's basically directed by Quentin Tarantino, but Robert Rodriguez got the credit, but I guarantee that Quentin was right next to him for every scene. However, for their next collaboration in Grindhouse, Planet Terror, which I highly recommend, also directed by Robert Rodriguez with Quentin Tarantino right beside him. The main character's name is El Rey. David says, start stationary bike and treadmill next week. That's great, David. Just set it up in front of your TV and just go to town. You'll be fine.
Please.
And with your new diet, you will get ripped. You'll get in fighting shape. Arthur has a level 10 mustache.
Mighty fine if I do say so.
Level 10 handlebar, but he's not looking too good. He's looking a little peaky.
All right, you're ready to go.
And David says hi to Cloudy.
Thanks,
Chrissy says he is going to a cardiac rehab. Do you have a stationary bike and treadmill at the house?
Leave me alone.
Is my question for you.
I want you to leave me be. That man's a crazy person.
Or do you have to do it at rehab? We didn't even knock that citizen over, and we are disturbing the peace. Sadie's doing a good job of staying in her chair and being a proper live stream co-host. Chrissy says, no, we do not. If you do get a treadmill, don't cheap out on it. Exercise equipment, most exercise equipment, especially the cheap ones that are made in China, they're designed to fail within 6 months because they just assume that people will like quit, that they're just getting it for like New Year's or whatever, and they're not going to stick to their fitness regimen. So they're not really designed to be used every day. So just get something with a lot of ratings. I mean, and an American company if you can. It will still be manufactured in China, but at least you know, there will be more of a quality assurance for the product. Then I don't know how big your house is or your backyard, but you could set up some kind of walking trail for him. I set up a walking trail for my dad in our backyard, in his backyard, because it was during COVID, so he couldn't really, you know, he was vulnerable, so he couldn't really go out. But I figured out a path with it, put some diagonals in it, and you know, set it all up for him so that he could like, and we calculated how he could work. He could walk it 7 times and get a mile out of it. So that's what he did. Low impact. And the area is too busy, so let's do an old exit reload. I've been rewatching Hell on Wheels, which is an AMC series about the Transcontinental Railroad, which I'm really enjoying. I'm on season 2. Very exciting. And it's got everything, you know. It's got romance. It's got action, adventure. It's got intrigue, ambition. Just the hubris of creating an intercontinental railroad, a railroad that spans the entire United States, which wasn't even the United States, you know, at the time. All the way to California, all the way to the Pacific, from the Atlantic to the Pacific in 7 days. 7 days. David says, haven't played since I've been home. The PS4 was dropped on the floor and don't work. Oh, that's sad. That I can't help you with. But well, maybe it's time to upgrade to a PS5. Like ODog. Just don't get the PS5 Pro, which is ridiculously overpriced. Yeah, I think you should get a PS5 just to reward yourself. And you'll have to start a new game, but that's okay. And it'll get you all set up for Grand Theft Auto 6. And we have no explosive rounds. So we tried hunting this darn thing without explosive rounds, and it did not go well. We are going to make a short out of it, though. Spoiler alert. And the map. $11 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. Happy Friday. On Fridays, we free roam.
We got a trail.
Appreciate you being here. I hope you had a good week. I had a good week. But I'm glad it's over. Although it's over for you, but technically it's just starting for me. If I do a live stream every night, we're gonna do a James Earl Jones appreciation live stream tomorrow night for ODOG. Haven't figured out what we'll do for Sinister Sundays, or if we will even have a Sinister Sunday. We'll just call it as we see it. Or if something occurs to me, something inspires me. I will tell you, Sinister Sundays do not do great as far as the live streams go. However, people are still watching Pale Rider. It has 12,000 views. What's that about? Basically went viral. And as far as subs are, we are well past 18,000. We are at 18,028. For a while we were at 18,018. That thing glitched a little bit, and now's the time to get him, but of course we didn't. We wanted to do something dramatic for the channel. Yes, yes, yes. The legendary Bull Gator. Just move him into position and get his attention. Accidentally called the horse. And that's what happens if you don't use explosive rounds in Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's try that again, shall we? So, Hell on Wheels has an interesting Star Trek connection, coincidence. It stars Colm Meaney as a robber baron. He was Chief O'Brien in Next Generation and DS9. And then it also stars Anson Mount, who would go on to play Christopher Pike in one of the newer Star Treks. Haven't watched it, but I just like that idea. Let's go find some ducks for the animal fat so we can make some explosive rounds. I was watching Deadwood concurrently with with Hell on Wheels. I started on Deadwood, and it occurred to me that it reminded me of Hell on Wheels, and then I just got caught up in Hell on Wheels because I know Deadwood intimately. I've seen those series many times, multiple viewings, and I think I've only done one viewing of Hell on Wheels. Oh, we gotta help this gentleman. Why not?
Hey, you! Please! Gotta help
It's interesting. Deadwood has, it's better production values, better acting, better writing in the first season, but it just kind of drifts off. Whereas,
Where is she?
and by better I mean slightly better. For Hell on Wheels, if Deadwood gets an A+ as far as writing and performing goes, Hell on Wheels gets like a B+ or even an A-. So it's very close. They're very close. But Hell on Wheels wins because it's a tighter story and they actually finish the story in like 4 or 5 seasons. And Deadwood got canceled. So it pretty much ends on a cliffhanger. But also, like all HBO seasons, it starts off really strong and then like just fades off. They're really good at grabbing your attention, HBO, but not keeping it. What's that about?
I'd rather die than look at you for one more second.
So I've just committed to watching Hell on Wheels. Boom, headshot. For your trouble.
Sorry I weren't here sooner.
It's all over, madam.
Thank the Lord you showed up when you did.
We saved her honor.
You saved my honor. Christ, what a mess. Would you please get them out of here? I can't stand to touch them, and I don't want them rotting indoors.
Dump these guys. Don't forget to loot them. Sometimes I put them on the horses and send the horses on their way, but I didn't this time. I couldn't be bothered. And also, I didn't really plan on... And also, you can dump them in the swamps for the gators, but might as well just leave them out front. Let the husband deal with them when he gets home.
There's some money I put away in the sack there. It ain't enough, but please take it.
Got my green tea tonight. Always feel a little bad taking this money. We don't really need it. $50 means a lot to those guys. But they can sell the horses. That's good for maybe $10. They'll be fine. They're living off the swamp anyways. They're living off gator eggs and wild boar.
Whoa, girl, easy.
Fast travel to Rancho del Emerald. Papa One is here. Greetings, Papa One. Everyone say hi to Papa One. And also Mama One. Greetings, Mama One. Mama One, I had a question for you. And Papa One. If you don't mind answering, you can all just say no if you want. But I was curious how far you could trace your family back in the United States. I mean, how far do your roots go? If you know. If I count in-laws, I can trace our family's roots back to the Civil War. And Sumter, South Carolina. So I am, at least by marriage, a true son of the South. Because I'm sure you know that the first shots were fired at Sumter, South Carolina. But I always liked that little bit of history. By marriage. Papa One says, don't knock gator eggs till you try them, Super Antonio. Oh, yeah. It's like, I'm going to eat a dinosaur egg. Sure, why not? Papa One says, hey, David. And Chrissy V says, hi, Mama One and Papa One. And Mama One says, hi to David and Chrissy. And Papa One says, hello to Chrissy. 12 years in the chat. Welcome, friends. Mama One says, Seamus is voiced by marriage. LOL. Yeah, I knew you'd get that. Grab these ducks.
Yep.
Let's grab Sadie. Somewhere in the dark. Can't technically see her, but we can bring her back with some potent canine taste. Oh. There's Sadie. Say hi to Mama One and Papa One. I had ostrich egg once. Ostrich scrambled eggs. It's very rich. And goose eggs. That was also very rich. And I've had fried gator. It was like a gator chicken nugget. It did not taste like chicken. Now, all we want to do is collect this duck that fell on their property, and they're not going to be having it, regrettably.
You're the one that's been causing trouble on what's ours. I don't want to see you here.
Papa One says, on my dad's side, we go back to the Austro-Hungarian Empire. My great-great-great-grandpa was born in Austria and was in the Austro-Prussian War. And then he was a shoemaker until his death. Wow. See, I love that. I love history, especially family history, if you know it, Papa One. And I had a feeling you did as well. When did they come to America? You know who else is from Austria? Herr Strauss. What's that about? And Arnold Schwarzenegger, I always just call him Arnold. He always stressed that he was Austrian, not German. You know, just because the WW2 thing. I'm Austrian. He was the Austrian oak. Which is a nice nickname. And then Van Damme was the muscles from Brussels. And Stallone didn't really... Well, no, Stallone was the Italian stallion. Wow. they really enjoyed their little rhyming nicknames in the 80s. You know, I had this idea for a Halloween display that's twofold because, as you know, probably I don't collect male action figures. But I thought I might have a Halloween display of action figures, and those are almost all male. I mean, the ones that I want. So I want the Universal monsters, the big three. So the werewolf and Dracula and Frankenstein, and then I want the big three from the 80s, which would be Michael Myers and Freddy and Michael Myers, Freddy, and Jason. Papa One says, my great-great-grandfather was supposedly a miner, then my great-grandfather was a German army man. So from WW1, I'm thinking, Papa One, or earlier. But then it got me thinking of like 80s horror versus Universal horror, which is, you know, like in the 30s, where they had this thing called the Hays Code, you know, which limited like the sexuality. There was a bunch of rules where you can't, you know, things you could show: nudity, sexuality, same sex, and, you know, so everything got coded, you know, and hinted at, you know, and it made, to me, it made the movies more clever. Because you just had to hint at it, you know? It's like you had to think about it a little more than, you know, like it's not just all out there like it is now. Like, it's very famous. Alfred Hitchcock has a scene where two people, a heterosexual couple, they embrace and they kiss, and you can't really show the kiss, you know? They have to angle it right so you don't see the lips, you just see the back of the guy's head. And then he shows a train going into a tunnel. And see, to me, that's far more clever than what we're doing now, even though that's just a cliche now. And then also, you know, they'd show the couple, you know, it's like you couldn't show them in bed. They always had to have separate beds, but they would get around that by showing the couple in an amorous embrace, and then they move to the bedroom. And as they get to the bedroom, the camera is following them, but then the door closes. And so, you know, it's like, because, you know, that's a private moment. It's an intimate moment that we don't need to see. And that's a nice way to get around it, too. Papa One continues, my grandpa, like I said before, was a drunk who fought in World War I. Grandpa came to America shortly after 1919. He had my dad. Then he took off when Dad was 11. He went back to Germany. Wow. And Papa One continues, according to my dad, great-grandpa was a career army man who served in WW1 as well. He died during the Somme. He got shot in the leg, but the infection killed him. Well, I'm sure it killed a lot back then, infection. Same in the Civil War. Most of those deaths were from cholera and from infections. But also, you know, the efficiency of the weapons. And I remember reading about cannon shot. You know, it's like, so you know about the traditional cannonballs, of course, but they had grape shot, which was basically buckshot except giant, you know, for a cannonball, so that would spread out. But they also had a thing called a chain shot, which were two cannonballs that were connected with a chain, and you'd stuff both of them in there, and they would shoot out and spin around and cause more damage that way as well. And I thought that was very both efficient and horrifying. But again, shooty bangs, those are just a logical extension of throwing a rock.
Hey there, mister.
Papa once says, my dad's family had some screwed up life choices. Despite not really having a dad, he was sure not good at being a dad, honestly. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been good dad to my son. Yeah, you need that in your life. You need a role model. So many fatherless sons these days get their role models from TV. You hear about that all the time. You read about that. Captain Kirk, Captain Sisko from DS9. And we're back. This time with explosive rounds. Yeah, I got Star Trek on my mind. Mom once says, my family traces our roots to the Confederacy, Georgia, and to the Appalachian Mountains. See, Mama One is a daughter of the South, but I knew that.
Let's see what...
Hey, Mama One, what was for dinner?
I better get moving. Ain't close.
Miko Herptile is here and says, hello, Super Antonio, Sadie, Mods, and everyone. Greetings, Miko. Happy Friday to you, sir. Appreciate you. David has a alligator emoticon for Miko. Miko, do you like dinosaurs? Papa once says, Dad was a wild man and he was fearless, but one thing he always did say was, I love you. He said his dad never said it to him, so he sometimes would annoy you because he would say it constantly. Yeah, my dad was the same, and didn't really appreciate it at the time, but, you know, of course, what I wouldn't give to hear it one last time. Mama once says, hey, Miko, and Papa once says, hey, Miko, and Chrissy says, hi, Miko. Look at all these people saying hello to you, Miko. Your fellow mods are happy you're here. I watched a video on YouTube about Dave Bautista. I haven't really thought about him. Miko says, I do like dinosaurs. My favorite is the Stegosaurus. Because Dave Bautista collects life-size dinosaurs. Well, life-size dinosaur sculptures. He has them set up in, in his Florida mansion compound, like, you would set up garden gnomes, but he has dinosaurs. What's that about? And it's really funny. He got the idea from Chris Pratt, who got, who was in Jurassic Park, and I guess got a life-size velociraptor. And it's nice that they socialize because they were both co-stars in Guardians of the Galaxy, and so he's obviously been to his house and it was like, I want one of those. So it's basically the video. It's on YouTube somewhere. Just focused on all the things that Dave Bautista collects. And he collects obvious things like Harleys and pinball machines and cars, but he also collects vintage lunch boxes, which is just so wholesome. I just my respect for him went up immensely, tenfold, just because he loves lunch boxes and he was talking about his process of finding them on eBay, and he's and the research he's done. He showed the books that he's read. I've never ever wanted to collect vintage lunch boxes, but and he has unlimited funds, so he could get like he has a serious lunchbox collection, and of course they're like displayed beautifully. But that was funny. And he looks great. He's lost the weight. You know, it's like he's off the special medicine gum, but you know, he looks skinny, but he's not. I mean, he's still like 240 pounds. He's just down from like 340. So he doesn't look like Drax at all. He just looks like a really fit older man. Mama one says, tonight's meal was deer chili. Homemade chili mix. The deer is canned by me. Jalapenos, kidney beans, and I threw in a little gator meat just to give it zest. Biscuits, rolls, and fudge brownies. That sounds delicious, Mama one. 14 viewers in the chat. Papa one says, does anyone remember that Appaloosa I was talking about that had to have surgery on her hoof? She has recovered great and is being sent to her forever home tomorrow. She's going to be a therapy horse. That's great. That's great news, Papa one. See, and regrettably, our first mistake was going to the Saint Denis Trapper. I thought we're nowhere near Sadie, and we're still going to trigger it. Here we go. Papa one says, for special needs kids, she is so calm around noise. She is perfect for that work. David says, you can send me some brownies, Mama one. And Chrissy says, no brownies for you. Chrissy, you can make brownies with black beans. And don't use sugar, use stevia. And I swear to you, the consistency will be the same. It tastes just as good. Well, you know, not just as good, but pretty good. The Japanese use bean paste a lot in their desserts. The Ghost says, hi Antonio, greetings Ghost. Mama one says, April could no longer work, so therapy horse is a needed service. And Mama one says, David, I'll send you some through mail. David has a ghost emoticon for Ghost. Chrissy says, I can make brownies with chocolate chips and egg whites. David is... Yeah, just don't tell him, Chrissy. Chrissy says, David is not a black bean fan. Yeah, just don't tell him they're black beans and you'll be fine. Yeah, it's good for him.
Now you head in there, friend. Go on.
And really, you can use any bean. You know, it's like red beans also are very sweet. Micah says, hello. Today is Friday the 13th. It sure is, Micah. I wish I had one, you know, like one of the Friday the 13th, or even the first one,
Oh, just one second, sir.
so I could watch it tonight, but I don't. But the first one, you know, isn't really about Jason. You know, I mean, Jason doesn't even put on the hockey mask until like I think number 3. But the first one sets everything up and has the iconic and stars Kevin Bacon, and I believe in what I believe was his first role,
But you got money?
his screen debut.
I mean, before I start treating you, cause I got.
Papa one says, Chrissy, I'm not a fan either. David needs real food, mainly something the doctors would complain about him having, LOL.
What's wrong? I mean, what appear
Well,
to
maybe
be
after
the
he gets down to
symptoms?
his fighting weight.
Is there any blood?
For me, you know, I'm all about just giving him steamed broccoli and chicken breast. Mama one says, is this bad honor? It is not.
Again?
It's not a bad honor Friday. It's just
see your
legendary
tongue.
gator
Say,
fighting. Chrissy says he has to have fresh food, but he gets a cheat every 2 weeks. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, because I want to do a Halloween display this
Not good
year,
news.
and then every year after that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for
That
your son.
maybe
It's a
I'll
hell of a
have
thing.
some kind of candy
You're real
on
sick. You,
on
It's
October
a
31st,
progressive
which is
disease.
someone's birthday as well.
you'll be.
But
thing
anyways,
is
getting
rest.
back to my thought about
Getting
the big
somewhere
three
warm and
Universal
dry and taking it
monsters
easy now.
versus the big
possible?
three 80s monsters.
Sure.
So
Just
in
take
order
my winters in my
to
country club
to
in
project fear and
California.
horror
No.
in the
Not
30s,
possible.
they used makeup and visualization and music, you know, and just implications. You know, it's like
I'm real
Frankenstein would throttle you, werewolf would bite you, and
but wait,
you know, turn you into a werewolf. Same with Dracula.
Let me
But
get you a
in
little
the
bit more
80s, where you could, you know, it
energy
was pretty much
today.
anything goes. The appearance wasn't as important as the weapons, because you could actually show, you know, like someone getting canceled, or you know, with like a machete, or you know, a knife hand, or you know, or a kitchen knife like Michael Myers used. And I just found that interesting, that it's like the weapons are almost more iconic to the 80s horror stars than certainly they were in the 30s with the classics, where that was all about the look and the style and the appearance. I do love Halloween, even though I don't love candy. Well, no, I strike that. I do love candy, of course. Who doesn't love candy? I just don't eat it. Papa One says, I had a friend who got sick from tuberculosis. They have a cure for it now, but he was a tough, unruly bastard, and it still nearly killed him. He was stubborn and a heavy smoker.
He didn't have a choice. He was good.
Chrissy says, David had penny marinara with a fresh salad of romaine hearts, red bell peppers, carrots, and tomatoes. That sounds delicious and perfect for him. David, what are you complaining about?
I understand if you don't want to help me, but
I love romaine. That's my favorite. That's my favorite salad, is romaine. And Papa One continues. He told his wife he was just having bad smoker's cough and it would go away. It didn't go away. He got put in a coma and survived, but it was not an easy recovery, and he could never smoke again. Micah says, I wish I could see some real fall foliage. That's what I like most about this time of the year. Well, you can on YouTube. Chrissy says he isn't complaining. He loved his salad. Yeah, I love salads. Yeah, you can do like a walking tour of New England or a driving tour of New England, Micah. There's all sorts of resources on YouTube. Chrissy says he just wants brownies, LOL. Yeah, what's not to? Brownies and vanilla ice cream, great combo. And Donut Lord is here and says, hopefully Jason wouldn't cancel anyone today. Won't. He probably will. It is Friday the 13th. But we're nowhere near a lake, so we should be okay. Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah, spoiler alert. Jason isn't even really in the first one. It's Jason's mom that's doing it. Jason gets resurrected in the second one. And David has a burger. David has burgers, or perhaps that is a donut on his mind for you, Donut Lord. And Chrissy says to Micah, my daughter took me to Salem 2 years ago in October. It was so beautiful. Yeah, I need Beetlejuice on Blu-ray or DVD, which is also set in, you know, that kind of New Englandy area. David says, it's a donut. That was a donut. Chrissy says, yeah, it's a good-looking donut. I want donuts. I do love donuts. Can't remember the last time I've ever had one.
Well, it's been a little while, eh? Oh, what do you have for me?
Donut Lord says the legendary Panther is going to be pissed when he finds out that he was turned into a cloak. Yeah, I can imagine that he was a little upset about that. He hadn't finished using it. Yeah, so I want, for action figures, I want Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. But also, there's this little kid. He's called Sam. He's from what movie? It's called Trick or Treat. What? That's from like this century, I think, 2007. But he's so cute. He's wearing a onesie and he's got a big pumpkin head mask. But because under the pumpkin head mask, well, no, actually, it's not a he's got. His head is shaped like a pumpkin, and he's got like a burlap mask. But if you take off the burlap mask, which he does, he's got like a skull pumpkin head. David says, Salem, Massachusetts. And Mama One says, I do need to do The Legend of the East in all game sets. I get impatient. Take your time, Mama One. Mama One says, I wish we could get a DLC of how Charles and Sadie kept the gang together. Yeah, that would be perfect. That time when they're in Guarma. There's all sorts of adventures that Charles and Sadie could have. And Donut Lord says, every legendary animal that gets hunted and all the people that Arthur or John are going to be seeing. The Red Dead Redemption 2 screen. I think that's going to be continued, Donut Lord. Let's try that again, shall we? And then to round things out, I've got a bunch of other. This time we're going to hunt the legendary Gator with a dynamite arrow. Mama One says, does the game specify how long they were in Guarma? It doesn't really, but judging from Arthur's beard, I'd just say 3 to 6 weeks. Chrissy says, we went to Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. You did a whole New England tour, Chrissy. A lot of history back there. Also, Stephen King's in Maine. Bangor, Maine. And he writes about Castle Rock, Maine. I like authors who are localized and write about where they live, or like a fictionalized version of where they live, and they set all their their stories and characters around those towns and then connect them, which Stephen King was really good at doing. I should say is really good at doing. Micah says, Maine looks like a very beautiful state. No sales tax, or no state income tax in Maine, I believe. Chrissy says, yes, I love history and fall. A lot of history back east. Papa One says, Guarma is the only chapter I don't care for in this game. I wish they would let us go back and forth. It went from a Western game to Arthur and Dutch getting drafted into Vietnam. Yeah, it is the jungle. I was disappointed first playthrough. It's like, what are we doing here? But it dovetails quite nicely with John's adventures in Mexico, in Red Dead 1. They get involved in the revolution and help overthrow Colonel Fassar. And Donut Lord wants different gun grips. My favorite donut is an old-fashioned, because it's really cakey, and I just feel you get more donut. I mean, it's the same price as, say, a glazed donut, but it weighs 3 times as much. It's just got more, and there's more nooks and crannies for the glaze to get in on it. So I just feel you get a better deal with an old-fashioned than you do with a glazed donut. And then the filled ones, the jelly ones they're just too messy for me. Papa One says, because barely anyone lives in Maine, a few horse farms and Amish farms and snow-loving people, LOL. Me and Mama One have been to 49 states. Me and Dad went to all of them together. That's an achievement, Papa One. Most Americans have not been to all 50 states. Donut Lord says, wonder how John got Arthur's clothes and guns, because Arthur was probably buried in the clothes he died in. Yes, he was. What's that about? But he did have the infinite satchel. Papa One says, the only one Mama One has not been to is Alaska. Me and my dad went grizzly hunting and fishing up there near Kenai, Alaska in 1987. Alaska was fairly cheap back then, and it was fun. And O-Dog is here. Greetings all. In the background, playing football. O-Dog, we're doing James Earl Jones tomorrow night. James Earl Jones tribute. And David has a Moondoggy emoticon. And Mom One says, John is a grave-robbing kind of guy. That thing took 2 explosive rounds. In both eyes. There's a dinosaur for you, Miko. Papa One says, people don't go hunting too much, since at the time Robert Hansen was in his canceling spree. He was a butcher who would kidnap, I heard about him, young women. He had a pig farm, didn't he? And then fly him to his land in the Alaska wilderness. No, I'm thinking about someone else. And Donut Lord wonders how Jack got John's rancher outfit, because he was also probably buried in it. I think Jack just he wanted an outfit that reminded him of his old man, and found one at the Blackwater store. Blackwater really needs a fence, or tumbleweed, or armadillo. Armadillo would be great for a fence. Tumbleweed would make sense because they have a stable there, but they really need a fence on that side of the map. And you got the trapper in tall trees, but, you know, why isn't he like further south? And yeah, we need a fence and a trapper stand further south. Mama One says, of course, different guy, that's John Pipkin, the pig farmer. Yes. Miko says, my good friend had a pet caiman once. I got to hold it. I would never keep one myself. Yeah, I do like dinosaurs. I don't think I have a favorite one. Maybe the brontosaurus. I just like their long necks. And Jurassic Park 1. Papa One says, hunt them instead of animals, so people were terrified to go outside. Oh, the ladies. So the game wardens lifted the limits for the year 1987. We got 2 grizzly bears, all the meat, and a bearskin rug. Wow. Miko says, all this talk about donuts is making me want some too. Yeah, Miko. Thanks, Donut Lord. The Lord of the Donuts. And 2 pairs of boots. Wow. Grizzly bear boots. Papa One says, I prefer my legendary Gator boots to my legendary bear boots, but my bear boots are 37 years old and still in good shape. Well, that's how you honor the animal. But, you know, most hunters are very respectful. You know, it's like... In my experience, at least. It's not like shooting buffalo in 1865. No, that would have been around 1880. Because the train had already been built. I have a new technique for getting into the roads fence. I just saw it. I try not to watch other YouTubers' Red Dead videos, but I couldn't help myself.
Good to see you again.
So I need to try it, and if it's interesting, we'll do it. Mom once says we could be self-sufficient. We lived like it was the Wild West most of our lives. I can make clothes, boots, and furniture.
Nothing quite like wearing your best day's work.
And Cloudy says, I've been lurking most of the time, but I finally watched Guardians of the Galaxy and loved it. It's probably my favorite new Marvel movie. It's 10 out of 10 for me. Oh, it's a wonderful movie, Cloudy. It's very sentimental and super funny. Every character is interesting. And you should watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 now. 3, I haven't seen. But I probably, you know, I don't really watch it, Marvel, after Disney got a hold of it.
Thanks, partner.
Shout out to the channel members. Come here, JD girl. She's under the desk. What's it? She likes to participate in the live stream by being under the desk. What's that about? Mom once says, the only reason we have the internet is because most government and other horse breeders do business online now. Very few have file cabinets like we do still. We use the internet too, but Papa One refuses to get rid of the file cabinets. He wants his hard copies. Cloudy says, I will watch it later tonight. Okay, Cloudy, give me a report. Mama One asks, Cloudy, the start of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is one of my favorite openings of all time. It's super funny and charming. You'll know what I mean. Has a young Groot. Groot's sacrifice. It's really nice. It's a nice moment in the Guardians 1. Mom One says, is Serena okay? And David says, I talked to her a few days ago. Getting better, still no surgery. Okay, well. Once she has that surgery and is in the recovery phase, I'm sure we will all breathe a collective sigh of relief. We're all praying for her. David says, okay, David, please tell her we are praying for her. Mama One, you can email me at reddeadsuperantonio@gmail.com, and I will pass on her your message to her, and then she can respond to your email, and you can talk to her. I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. What else? That's about all I have for you tonight. We will be doing a James Earl Jones tribute tomorrow night for O-Dog. Shout out to the mods. Speaking of ODog, David and Mama One and Papa One and Chrissy, thank you for taking such good care of our David. Miko Herptile, of course. Thank you so much for being here. Great talking to you, Cloudy and Donut Lord. Enjoy. Like and subscribe, friends, and enjoy the rest of your evening.